It's story time!
Hello and welcome to the Storytime podcast. And this week I have with me Angela Mullin.
Hello.
How are you? Do you want to tell everyone where to find you on the internet?
You can find me at Angie Mull on Twitter, ANGIEMUL, and that's it. I don't have a YouTube channel.
Or check her out in the Facts.
Oh yeah,
YouTube
or a Facts
videos.
YouTube channel. A few of them as well.
So this week you're going to tell us you've been actually involved in a number of earthquakes.
Yeah, they tend to follow me around. Yeah,
it's quite unusual.
Yeah, it is, but sure. Yeah, I was in a few earthquakes in New Zealand, and then I lived over there, and then another one in San Francisco in 2014. So it's a few years ago now.
So which was the first one?
So it was 2010. I was living in Christchurch in South Island of New Zealand, and I'd been living there for a couple of years, and it was so the city, it's not, well, they thought it wasn't on a fault line. There's a place called Wellington in the North Island, and they kind of get a lot of earthquakes, and it's sort of expected if you live there. But in Christchurch, it's well, they thought it was like earthquake free zone. So but in the middle of the night, it was September 4th, I think, 2010, and I was asleep at home, and then the whole house started shaking. Like, how would I describe it?
Yeah,
just like someone shaking, like a giant shaking the house.
Just, I suppose, for context, like, Irish people, we don't get earthquakes. Like, it's not really something that happens in Ireland. It's nothing that's happened in my lifetime anyway. Yeah. And, like, so, because there'd be Americans watching this being like, we get these all the time. But it's a different thing for Irish people. We don't get those.
Yeah, which is good. I don't recommend it. But, yeah, so it was crazy. I just, there was just like a massive, like a loud rumbling noise, and the whole house started shaking, and I was going out with a New Zealand guy at the time, and they kind of grow up with earthquake drills, and he was there, and he was just like, get under the door, quick, get under the door. So we just like went under the doorway.
So like stood in the door frame, like?
Yeah, what's it called? The arch in the doorway. Yeah. And I think it shook for about probably just under a minute. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die now. And I was living in a house with about 6 other housemates.
Yeah.
And we were all like, when it stopped, we were kind of all standing under the doorway, and all the electricity went. So we were just standing there in pitch black going, what the hell was that? Yeah, then it stopped. And oh my God, I just remember my heart beating really fast and thinking like, and we all went out in the street. It was around, I think it was 4:30 a.m. and it was kind of just getting bright, like, and we didn't really know like what to do, whatever. So we just went out in the street. Loads of people were outside, and there was loads of damage even after that 1 minute, like massive cracks in the road, like bits falling off buildings. It was mad. Well, you couldn't really see the full damage till the daylight, till it was like fully bright a couple of hours later. So yeah, it was just mental.
And was there much damage inside your house?
No, I don't think so in our house. Maybe just a few cracks in the walls and that, and like stuff falling off shelves. But we weren't, where my house was, like where the epicenter is, that's where like the worst damage is, where the earthquake kind of begins. So there wasn't that much, but that I can remember. But the house kind of moved on the foundations, so it was kind of...
Jesus.
Yeah, well, we didn't really notice that until later. Until the landlord came around and was like, oh yeah, the house is fucked. In her Kiwi way. We were like, oh, fuck. Yeah, the house was a bit, like it was that way, and then after the earthquake it was kind of like that.
Oh no.
But we still lived in it.
House owner.
We still stayed there for a while. Just the Kiwis are kind of just like, oh yeah, sweet ass.
Whatever.
No pros. No worries. Yeah, so
why the door frame?
Well, I later found out that you're not really supposed to do that. You're supposed to get under a table.
Oh.
Like if an earthquake happens, the best thing to do is to get under like a solid wooden table. Like say if it happened at work, and because I think that's what they teach in earthquake drills. But the door frame, I suppose people think it's like the most stable part. Like I don't really know the logic behind it, but
yeah. Yeah, because I would have thought like, yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Either, to be honest.
I need to look it up.
Because like, there's like a thin part above the door.
Yeah.
Like, surely they'd be more likely to come down. I don't know.
Well, I suppose like the ceiling will fall in.
Oh, I suppose, and you'll be like out of the way of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You'll be in the door. Yeah, okay, that makes sort of sense.
But yeah, apparently you're supposed to get under a table if there's a table nearby.
Mm.
So that's what I did.
The second time.
The next earthquake. Oh no, actually, sorry, I didn't because I wasn't near a table, but I did.
You briefly thought I should be under the table right now.
Yeah. So but then sure, what can you do if there's an earthquake happens and you're like not near a table? Like, then what do you do?
Yeah.
You can't just like carry a table around with you, But like,
it's my earthquake table.
But yeah, so that happened and it was pretty strong. I think it was like 7.1 on like the Richter scale.
Okay,
which is
out
like,
of 10? Like,
I'm not sure how high the Richter scale.
Yeah,
so like say like
the
a 2,
scale.
I think it's like 2. So say 2 or 3 might be like a rumble.
Yeah.
But with some damage, but maybe like people wouldn't be killed. This is just like from my experience. And then say like 5 up is like,
so yeah, it's
like,
much more serious. Yeah.
Shit.
So the first one was 7 or the second one was 7?
No, the first one was like 7.1. And then it depends how deep it is as well and where the epicenter is. So it's all this stuff.
There's a lot involved.
It's a lot involved in the old earthquakes, yeah. So anyway, I was working in a newspaper then, and our building.
This one in San Francisco, was it?
Oh, sorry.
Or
there was a few more New Zealand ones.
Was there? Go on. Don't let me.
I've only got started,
Don't let me
Claire. Oh my god. Okay, so that one happened, and yeah, that was just mad. But like, no one died in that one.
Okay.
So like, there was a lot of damage, and like, we were temporarily out of our work building. Then we were back in it a few weeks later, and yeah, but there was people were sort of like joking about it on that, because I don't know, because Kiwis are just really laid back, and it was kind of like, oh, the big ones. So apparently when a big one happens like that, they were all saying, oh, it's not going to be another big one now for like another 100 years, like, so you don't need to worry about
relaxed,
it. Yeah, because I was really like
on edge,
like, oh my god, like really stressed and stuff, thinking like it's going to be another one today, whatever. But they were like, oh, no worries, no more, it's fine. Oh yeah. And so that was grand. So there was a few loads of like aftershocks after that.
Yeah.
So that went on for like weeks. Actually probably September, October, November, December. It went on for like about 4 months. So there'd be like just a little rumble.
Yeah. And
like, some people were pretty like chilled about it. Just like, oh, it's just an aftershock, it'll pass. But I was like every time, like, I was at work a few times, and we had a few like earthquake drills then, in case it happened again, like the way you'd have like a fire drill here.
Yeah.
So a few times I was at work, and it was the middle of the day, and I was just there like typing away, and then the whole building would go like shake, kind of like a washing machine or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I would be like, and I would just like jump under the table and be like under my desk, and then it would stop, and like everyone else would be like, so just, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
and I'd be completely like spot the Irish person. But I mean, I just think better be fucking safe than sorry.
True, yeah.
So there was a good few days. There was a lot of days spent under the desk. I know, like I remember one day I was really, really on edge, and there was a few shakes, and I kept like getting under the desk. My boss was just like, "Ange, just go home. You're just stressing me out." Like, so yeah, and I was like, well, you know, if another one comes, you know, you're the one who's going to be sorry because I'll be under the desk. But they were just so kind of chilled about it. It was mad. And we'd kind of be joking then, like, a shake would happen. And there was this website, I think it was called GeoNet. And after an earthquake happened, they'd have the size of it up on the site within a couple of hours. Like, oh, that was 4.1. So we'd be placing bets like, oh my God, I bet that was like a 4.2. And then, oh, no way, that was like definitely a 5. And then go on and see who got it right. It was just mad. And yeah, so this went on for a few months. Then there was a couple of... Oh yeah, then I remember it was Christmas. I think it was Stephen's Day, was it? And it was around Christmas time. And I was in an Irish pub with some Irish friends, and like we'd had a few drinks and we were like dancing around, and there was a really big aftershock, and the whole pub just went like totally shook, and we were all drunk, and everyone just went, "Way!" Like no one cared at all. We're just like, "Way!" And then I remember my friend saying, "Oh, sure, if we go, at least we'll go happy."
Oh, Jesus.
I know.
Is your friend Irish as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Fierce Irish things as well.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, sure, we'll go happy." And like, they didn't even shut down the pub. We were still out. Just grand. Yeah, so then that kind of died down. Then I was still working in the same place. But then there was a really big earthquake. It was February 22nd, 2011. And that was really like bad. Like there was no jokes about that. It was the middle of the day. I think it was 10 to 1. And like there was, because the last one was in the middle of the night, most people were asleep and that, and there wasn't like fatalities, but this one was the middle of the day, and there's loads of people walking around, and like my building was really badly damaged, and there was like 185 people killed in that one. In the city.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like, it was kind of like, okay, this is fucking really bad. Like,
yeah. And so were you in work at that time?
Yeah, I was at work, and it was this building called the Christchurch Press in the middle of the city. And I think the epicenter was near enough the city. Like, it was actually smaller. It was like 6.3, but it was, the epicenter was near the city, like near the center of the city. Yeah, so I was at work, and it was lunchtime, and the third floor was the canteen, and I would like sometimes go up there. But that day I decided just to go out, and I was walking out the door, the side door, when it happened. And like, I was so lucky that I just, because if I was on the third floor, I would have been injured, or there was a woman killed up there.
Oh, wow.
Like one of my workmates, yeah. So I was so lucky. So I was coming out the door, and it was like kind of a side, like a big metal side exit door. So all these bricks started falling down in front of me, and I just stood, like I just kind of froze, and they all fell down. Then there was a big cloud of dust, and it stopped after, most probably like about 40 seconds. And then I was kind of like, oh my God, like, and then I just saw loads of people running out of buildings and screaming, and like people with blood on their head, and
Jesus.
Yeah, like loads of people were injured.
And how do people, like, it sounds like a silly question, but how do people get injured and killed in earthquakes? It's stuff falling on them, isn't it?
Stuff falling on them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, yeah, just like unlucky, like in the wrong place, the wrong building.
So when you were walking out like the exit, the rocks all kind of started falling, and you like basically hung under the...
Yeah, just under the doorway.
So you were very lucky then.
Oh my God, I was so lucky. Yeah, I was so lucky. Yeah, and then when I looked up at the building, the 3rd floor, so like the top floor of the building had kind of caved in on the 2nd floor.
Oh, the 3rd floor was the top floor. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Like, so...
And you worked on the 3rd floor normally?
I worked on I think it was the 2nd floor, but the canteen was on the top floor.
Oh, so and normally you've been in the canteen.
Yeah, so I think the woman that was killed was on the 2nd floor. I'm not sure.
God.
Yeah, it was awful. And then another woman, a pillar like fell on her legs.
Ah, ouch.
And she had to get them like both amputated like later.
Jesus. Okay.
I know. Yeah, it was like really bad. So then, yeah, everyone was kind of just running out into the square of the city, and there was, I remember a woman who, when we done the earthquake drills, she was kind of in charge, so she told us all to go to this park in the city. So we all went there, and then everyone starts panicking because the phones kind of went down, or like people were trying to contact loved ones, and you know, your phone, I don't know if the network was probably like overloaded, but you couldn't like get through to people, and it was just crazy. And then this like emergency siren went off, like you see in movies.
Wow, like a citywide.
Yeah, like a.
Jesus.
I don't know what it's called.
No, but I can
it's like a drone noise. Like,
yeah, I can imagine it because I've heard it. I've seen it in films.
Yeah. It was just mad. Yeah, and then I was trying to like contact like friends and stuff, and it took a while for like text to get through and all. And then didn't we know what to do. Yeah, and then I remember going to a friend's house who lived nearby. Oh yeah, I remember going to this friend's house. She was a Scottish girl, and I don't know why I went there, because I think my house was too far away, but I went there and she was there, and a couple others come in, and then she was like, oh, here, we need a beer, so we just had a couple of beers. It's like,
what else can you do?
I know.
Yeah.
Like, what else is there to do?
And what happened to like people who got injured or whatever in that earthquake? Did they have to like wait until they could get picked up, or? Because like obviously they couldn't go to the park.
Oh yeah, I suppose some people like went straight to the hospital, and then there was just like emergency services everywhere.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
And then I just remember a couple of my workmates had like minor injuries, like cuts and stuff, but they were still walking around okay. So obviously they gave priority to people who were like really seriously injured.
Fair enough,
yeah, so it was just mad. It was like, I don't know, it was like Apocalypse Now or something. It was just mad. Anyway,
really surreal, I suppose.
Yeah. Then, but like the way they handled it was really good. The way like, I thought, like the way the emergency service, well, I suppose they had prepared for in case that happened, like. Yeah, it was just mad. And
were there aftershocks then for weeks after that one as well?
Yeah, there was after that. And after that, I was there for a couple of weeks, and then I came back to Ireland for a few weeks. Because I kept having having nightmares that stuff was falling on top of me and collapsing on top of me and stuff. But at the same time, I mean, I was like so lucky compared to so many people. And like then there was people who like lost their homes. You know, they owned houses and the house was like a total write-off and they couldn't live in it anymore and they had like nowhere to live. And then like their workplace was damaged and like their business was gone. Like it was mad. But at the same time, like Kiwis, they're like super optimistic, I think, compared to Irish people. Like, you know, say if in Ireland, if I don't know, something really small happens. They're like, oh, it's terrible, oh God. Like ringing Joe Duffy, you know, oh God.
Yeah.
You know, but they were really like sort of calm, and like I just remember meeting my landlord, the place I was staying in. So the place I was staying in was really badly damaged. So I was renting an apartment, and it was like army outside it. So I had to go back and get my stuff out of the house. I had like an hour, and they were like, okay, go in and get your stuff, but no one's going to be allowed in here like after today. So I just kind of I didn't have that much stuff. I just like threw all my stuff into a bag. And then it was a nice apartment. There was a swimming pool, like outside, like a small pool. And that was like, there was water. The water had all come out of it. And
What?
yeah, anyway, so I got my stuff. And then I remember seeing my landlord. Well, it was a few days later, met the landlord. And she had owned a couple of apartments, and like they were like totally damaged. And then she had her engagement ring and some like loads of wedding photos and personal stuff, and she couldn't get them because it was too badly damaged, so she wasn't allowed to go in and get her like personal stuff.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah. And then she was still like, oh, you know, I'm alive and my husband's alive and it's only stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is getting very dark. Will I just keep going? Or
yeah, but what about your San Francisco one? Did you have one in San Francisco as well?
oh yeah, so Roland. So I was living in Auckland for a while, and then moved home. What year was it? Near the end of 2013. So then I was living in Dundalk for a while, where I'm from. Come on, the town. I just wanted to get that in. So I was living there for a while, and then my sister won a trip to San Francisco on winning streak.
Okay.
You know, winning streak?
Jesus, yeah.
Like on a scratch card.
So she didn't go on the show?
She wasn't on the show. It was like you had to get 3 letters.
Yeah, so
you had to
just
get like
USA. The winning streak,
okay,
a scratch card. And if you get certain 3 of something, you get to send off for the chance to be on the show. Yeah. And then on the show you can win money or whatever. But she just won it straight off the scratch card like a holiday. Yeah, so cool. I know, it was really cool. Jeez, I didn't know you could get decent prizes on them things. I'd actually buy one if I'd known that.
Oh my God, it was really cool. So she won it, I think her name was picked out in January in 2000, so what year was that? 2014. So they picked out a few winners every week, and then this went on for a few weeks, and the holiday was in August, so all the winners went together. There was about 40 or 50 winners, and they all had a +1, and Marty Whelan came too.
No way. The host.
Sure, that was a prize in itself. And he came with his wife, and they were great crack. Anyway, and the prize was the holiday to San Fran, and then like spending money. But my sister didn't go in the end, so she said I could go. I was like, if I must. And I ended up going with my dad, and my sister took the spending money and went on a different holiday. So it was like, oh, so nice. It was like 5-star trip to San Francisco, and there was loads of other people from around the country. And so my dad was joking, like, oh, because nobody in San Francisco's on a fault line and they get earthquakes. He was like, oh, wouldn't it be gas now if there was an earthquake, we were over there, you know, that's like something that would happen. And I was like, oh, of course that won't happen. What happens? So when we were there, I think it was like the 3rd night, we were in this lovely hotel in the city, and then there was an earthquake during the night in Napa Valley, which is like where all the vineyards are. Okay. Yeah, so it's like outside the city. But I actually didn't feel it because I just slept through it. My dad felt it, and then he woke up in the morning and he was like, there was an earthquake last night, but you were fast asleep. I was like, no way, I thought he was messing. And I turned on the TV and it was all over the news. I was like, oh my God. Jeez. I was like, oh, sure, look. Well used to them. So I think there was loads of damage to vineyards and property. I think one person died, but don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. Yeah, there was loads of like property damage, and the city itself was okay. It was out in Napa Valley. There was loads of damage, but that was like, I mean, I slept through it, so
yeah.
it wasn't like traumatized or anything. But
how'd your dad get on?
He kept like giving out to me as if I'd caused it. He was like, "Can't go." He was like, "What? Natural disasters just follow you around." And he kept saying it to everyone on the trip. He was like, sure, she wasn't with me, there wouldn't have been one. Like, oh, sorry, I caused that earthquake, you know. It was funny, the local paper in my hometown, like, had this story, Dundalk girl survives, you know.
They did not.
Second major earthquake.
About you?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's...
Well, because I had written some stuff about the New Zealand one a few years before, and then I think they took a photo of Facebook or something. Luckily, it was a nice photo of me with Marty Whelan. You know.
So you got to be in the paper with Marty Whelan.
Well, yeah,
very nice.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I hope you kept that article for the last.
Yeah, no, I have it.
Dundalk girl survives second earthquake.
Yeah, and I got some slagging over that.
You shouldn't like, it's my third, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, second country. But, so, no more earthquakes since then. Yeah. Imagine there was one just now.
Oh, Jesus.
In the middle of this.
Please, no.
We get on that table.
I've done my drills.
Yeah, we'll do a drill after.
That's a very small table.
Well, you know,
underneath it.
I'll fit in there. You can just like
I'll
stand
go under the door.
Yeah, you can stand under the door.
This works. Thank you so much for coming on to tell us your earthquake stories. It's a very unusual experience for an Irish person, I think, to have, especially 3 times. So,
yeah.
Do you want to remind everyone where to find you on the internet?
Again, okay, so. So on Twitter at Angie Mull, ANGIEMUL, and
in the facts videos.
And in the facts videos,
yes. Facts YouTube channel, youtube.com/facts. Angie's in some of the videos.
Yeah.
What's your? Can you think of
Irish people
a favorite
survive earthquake for the first time? What's my What's my favorite one?
That you've been in that you can think of.
I haven't done that many. Let me see. Oh, I did a Russian vodka one with Dermot.
So the Irish people taste test Russian vodka?
Yeah, that was good crack.
Were you in my non-alcoholic one? I think you were.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we did a video where I told you they were alcoholic cocktails and they weren't. To be fair, I didn't specify that they were alcoholic, but the intention was to mislead you and think they were alcohol, and at the end I told you they had no alcohol in
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I think I didn't click.
Yeah, I think you and Paddy didn't click, and there was another
and then
couple that immediately were like, there's no alcohol in this.
We thought we were...
Yes, there is.
It's another way, like, what's it, placebo? We thought we were getting drunk.
Yeah.
And then we were like, ah, oh. And then you were like, there's no alcohol in these. Like, oh okay. Right. Yeah, I'm totally fine. I'm not drunk. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much anyway for coming on and sharing your earthquake stories.
It's good fun. No problem. I feel like I've had a counselling session.
Just got it all over.
I just got it all out.
It's so much better now.
Yeah.
So we are on YouTube, SoundCloud, and check out the Patreon if you want to support the podcast. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bye. How are you holding it together? Like, so yeah, that was mad. Like, anyway, I moved to Auckland then after that. So I came home for a few weeks and then moved to Auckland. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, because the dog.
Oh, yeah. How long am I talking now? Probably too long.
Fucking shower as well. I'll kill him. Anyway.
We wait?
No, we'll just go ahead. I'll just kill him later.
Okay.
Go on.